going to follow it. And again, you can make 3 introductions, 3 endings, 4 variations, and 4 fill-ins for every single pattern. Next to the Pattern Edit button, we have the Sequencer button. So let's go ahead and press this button now. The Sultan X1 and the X4 have a 16-track sequencer, 32 tracks via MIDI. There's approximately 30,000 notes of memory on board, which is expandable to 200,000 notes. One of the most important things to remember when using the sequencer is not to use the Start button. It is very important to use F2 for recording. I also like to use the F6 button for sync start and turn this on. So let's go ahead and record a track. I'm going to press the record button, and the recording is going to start as soon as I start. So here we go. I reach up and press F2 to stop the recording, and now I'm going to use the cursor button to go to the second track. Now I'm going to go to F1 and rewind my track to the very first track. To the very first measure, excuse me. So let's go ahead and press record, but before that I must choose my second voice, which will be brass. So I'm going to use brass F. Press record. And again, we have the sync start on, and everything's going to start when I start playing. Press record, and you follow this procedure for each track. Now, using the sequencer is very in-depth, but the main thing that I can suggest is definitely do not use the start button, and pay attention to F2 for recording, and be sure to move on to your next tracks and select the sounds prior to using the record button. If you need information on how to use the sequencer even more thoroughly, you may call your local Sultan dealer. Earlier in the video, we discussed the Factory Custom feature, which allows you to alter sounds of an arrangement. However, the Factory Custom feature does not allow you to shut off volumes of the different parts, but the registration does. So let's go into selecting a registration. First, I'm going to come over to the registration button, which is located right here. I'm going to press that button. Now I'm going to press 01, and immediately the screen changes to O1A 8-beat 1 Reg 001. So I'm going to select style number 6, and now it says registration 06. I'm going to go ahead, and I have all of my volumes shut off for the drums and the bass. I also had the volume shut off for lower 1 and lower 2. Let me go to arrange view, and I have choir 1 for variation A, B, C, and D, which is exactly what I want. And let's say for F10, instead of Philharmonic strings, I want slow strings. So let's save that in D, and let's save that in C. I like going backwards, so let's go to B and A and make that slow strings as well. Now I have my everything set up the way I want it. I have my drums off, I have my bass off, I have my lower voices off, and everything else is exactly what I want. So now I'm going to press Save Enter, press F1 for registration. It says REG 006. Now I can name this registration at that time, but for this example I'm just going to leave it registration 006 and press F10 to save. Now I'm going to exit. I'm going to take the registration button off, and let's just create some different settings. Now I'm going to go ahead and re-press the registration button and press 06, and bam, the registration takes a snapshot of how I have the keyboard set up. So let's take a listen. First, press the key start. You can save 198 registrations on the new Sultan X1 and the X4. Well, as mentioned earlier, this keyboard is equipped with an onboard hard drive. Now, the hard drive, as mentioned earlier, has styles that are stored on it. It also has sounds that are stored on it. So let's get into how to load the sounds from the hard drive into the internal RAM button. So let's go ahead and press the disk button. And again, it says hard 01 folder 1. I'm going to select the plus button and I'm going to move through to where it says bank1 01.snd. Now I can use the F10 button to place a little arrow next to bank 1. I can maneuver down to bank 2, bank 3, and so forth. However, with the X1 and the X4, if you wish to load all of the sounds from bank number 1, all you really have to do is select the very first bank, and now I'm going to press F2 to load. One of the things to remember while operating your X4 or your X1 is that any time you're going to put something from the hard drive into the internal RAM of the keyboard, you're going to load. If you're taking something off of a disk and saving that onto the hard drive, you're going to copy. I'm going to cover that in just 1 minute. So let's go ahead. I have bank 1 selected. I have a little arrow next to it, and now I'm going to press load. Now there's going to be a brief pause in this video for this stuff to load, so we'll just kind of sit around, and you'll notice in the screen it says disk 1 of 8, and you'll see this clicking off, which is basically loading the sounds into the internal memory of the keyboard. It takes approximately about a minute, maybe a minute and 10 seconds for your sounds to load into the internal RAM. So in order to access those sounds, we need to reach up and press the RAM button, which is located right here. And we have piano and A on, and notice we have a new sound, piano number 1. So let's listen to that. I'm going to press pianist. Or maybe like more of a rock piano. If I press B, I have an ensemble sound. If I press C, I have new organs. If I press D, another organ. If I press E, I have this full organ. So let's listen to how that organ would sound with, say, the gospel rhythm, which is number 95. So let's listen to the intro, and here we go. Now if I press F, we have a 60 choir. Pretty cool sound effect. If I press G, the keyboard gets divided into different sections. So down here in this octave range, I have a race car. In this octave range, I have like an old car starting. Pretty cool jet. Another race car. Like a city crash. Now if I press H and I hit this upper octave range, a really cool thunderstorm, almost like what you hear at the beginning of Riders on the Storm. Sounds like a river or a stream. Hey, throw that rock. In this octave range, So when you need a wake up in the morning, you hit the rooster. Now if I press Chrome Family and press A, in this section I have applause. If I press B, I have a second piano. That's basically how you load the sounds off of the hard drive. If you turn the keyboard off, the sounds will disappear. Now, since we're talking about the hard drive, let's talk about how to load songs from a disk onto the hard drive. And I'm also going to cover how to create new folders with the hard drive. So let's do that now. I need to grab a disk. Oh, hey, here we go. Thought I had them on me. I have two discs here. I have one disc that says songs, and I have another disc that says styles. So I can save either songs or styles on the hard drive. So let's save the styles, well actually the songs first. So here we go. I'm going to insert the disc into the disk drive, which is located in the front part of the keyboard here. Now I'm going to press the disk button. Now I can load these songs into one of the existing four folders that are available to me right now. So once the disk button is on, if I press 02, I get folder number 2. And in folder number 2 you have 100 additional styles. In folder number 3 you have another 100 styles available. In folder number 4 you have 148 styles available to you. All of the styles that are saved for you in folder 1, 2, 3, and 4 come directly out of the Sultan library available from Ketron Labs. Well, what I want to do though is I want to save songs from my disk into the hard drive, and I do not wish to use any of the folders that exist. So let's talk about creating a new folder. So once I'm in this disk mode, if I look at F8, I press F8 for folder. And then I have options. I can press New to create new folders. I could also press F2 to delete. Now, the delete is very, very important to stay away from if you do not wish to lose the information that is on the hard drive. So I do encourage you to save everything that's on the hard drive to a backup disk so that you always have them, just in case for some reason you happen to hit this delete button. Man, you're going to lose everything that's in that folder. So be careful to stay away from that. We also have rename, lock, and escape. So I'll cover those right now. But for this circumstance, I want to create a new folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press New. And right now it says New Folder Name. And I'm going to use the blue letters that are located above the keys. And I'm going to create a folder that says Sultan. S-O-L-T-O-N. And now I'm going to press F10 to execute. And now if you look in the screen, I have a new folder, folder number 5. The goal that I have right now is to save the songs that I have on the disk and copy them into folder number 5 of the hard drive. So what I need to do is to go back to floppy. So what you have to do is press disk and shut it off, and then turn it back on and press the hard floppy button to the left. And if you notice, it goes back to floppy disk. Now, here's the songs that appear on my disk, and I'm going to use the select button, which is located for F10, and place an arrow to each of these songs. So once I've completed that, I now can press copy, and the screen says from floppy to hard 05 Sultan, which is exactly what I want. Now I can skip the first song if I wish, or I can copy all, which is what I want to do. So I'm going to press F9, and it'll take about a couple, say a minute for these songs to load off of the disk onto the hard drive. You can actually hear the information being fed from the disk onto the hard drive. Once the disk has finished loading the information to the hard drive, it will read floppy disk in the screen and again show you all the songs that you have on your disk. When you copy songs off of the disk onto the hard drive, it will organize them either numerically or alphabetically. So if the songs have names, it will load them from A to Z. If they're numerical, such as like Tune 1000 songs, they will load those songs in numerical order. So let's go ahead and access these new songs that are on the hard drive. I'm going to press the exit button, and now I'm going to press disk. I'm going to go back up to the hard floppy page button here, and right now it says hard 05 Sultan. So now I can access these songs. In order to access and play the songs, I need to go out of the disk mode and press this button here, which is song play. Now if I wish to visually see all the songs that are on that folder, I can press directory. And notice all the songs that are on here are listed with a number 1 through 11. So if I want song number 6, Hello, I press start, and I have Lionel Richie's Hello. Many people ask me about altering sounds within a MIDI file, so I'd like to cover that with you right now. Let's go to directory, and I'm going to select number 1, which happens to be La Vida Loca. So let's listen to the beginning real quickly. Okay, so I have a flute sound duplicating the vocal part. And what I like to do is to be able to change that flute sound, or actually eliminate it altogether. First thing I'm going to do is press F1 for GM part. I'm also going to press F10 for 16 parts. Now this shows me all 16 parts of that MIDI file, and also the voices that they're using. And if I look right here at track number 1, it says Andis. Now if I press F1 and highlight it so that it's black, and I press the balance value button, I can take that down to 0. If I press it to the right, I can take it back up. If I press them both simultaneously, it takes it to 0. If you page, you come across reverb settings. You can page again. You can have effects. You can also have panning left and right. You have your GM part shift. Now many people ask me about the GM part shift. If you wish to permanently change the key of a MIDI file